Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to react to something that I sort of picked up on YouTube. I found it a little bit weird. It's Alanah Pearce talking about the showcase controversy, which is what piqued my interest. Initially, I was like, well, what controversy? So obviously, I'm going to listen to the video. And I understand completely that that's something that, you know, YouTube creators will do to sort of bring you into the video. But it turns out she believes there is actually a controversy, something that I haven't seen on Twitter myself. So I found that really odd. The only people I've seen it from, or part of the community I've seen it from, is a part of the community that you wouldn't really take very seriously. So to hear it coming from someone who's huge in the industry makes me sort of believe that there's something going on in the background, maybe with the media. Maybe the media have been looking at the showcase in an unfavorable way. There's a lot more to this video. I did watch it once through. I haven't fully formed my thoughts with it yet. So I'll be sort of reacting at the same time as listening. But as I said, I have watched it once through already. Let's jump into it, see what Alanah's got to say. Before we do, let me just say, I love Alanah. Alanah is amazing. I definitely wouldn't attack her. She's an Aussie creator, or I guess ex-Aussie. She sounds more American these days. But she's formerly an Aussie. We like to see one of our own get up. So I have nothing but love for Alanah, but I just found this really odd. And I wanted to make a video about it, talk about it. So let's get into it.
We're on a mission from God.
Back, baby, for a really mediocre E3. Let's go. No, really, I'm coming out here and I'm saying it. I know that, like,
it's already really sort of odd to me that she's talking about how E3 was mediocre as a whole. Like, you know, E3 doesn't really exist, but I think that if the entirety of E3 was just that one Xbox showcase, I feel like personally it's been nailed. Like 17. There's more than 17 in that showcase, but 17 first-party games alone. You know, I think we're up around the 20 mark. I haven't quite counted it yet, but around the 20 mark. So we got 20 fresh games that are coming out across, you know, the breadth of a couple of years. So 2024, 2025, possibly even some 2026 games there. I think it very much covered it. I can understand her sentiment maybe about Jeff Keighley's show, which was middling at best. But well, let's listen, see what she has to say.
It's in to have memed on E3, and okay, as an sidebar, I know this isn't E3, it's Summer Game Fest, I'm aware, it's just, you know what I mean when I call it E3, it's the big video game thing that happens at the start of June. But like over the years, there were just more and more edgelords every E3 making videos to react to all the cringe and cringe compilations, and I feel like it became trendy to hate E3. It didn't happen for me. I've loved E3 since I was living in Australia, and I had
This is a little bit ironic though, Alanah, because you're making a video about controversy about the Xbox show in E3. So like in edgelords, you know, saying that it's bad and trashing it. I mean, I know you're not trashing it. I can see that. But like, I mean, it gets engagement, right? I'm not saying that you do that for engagement. I believe you're a genuine person, but I find this weird.
I had to wake up at 3 a.m. to watch the conferences on a school night. And this is actually the first year where I've just felt really bummed about how small it all is now. I did want to talk about a couple of controversies, and we're going to get to that, but also just
that's something else like that I find odd in the industry is there's not most of the old dogs, I guess you would call, like I'm an old dog. Most of the older guys really don't have a whole lot to do with the media. I mean, maybe Destin. There's not a whole lot of like older media people, really. I mean, you know, she's talking about E3 sort of began properly for, I guess, fans around 2017. I don't know, like getting out of bed at school. I won't say where I was, I'd be giving away my age.
Just overall thoughts on the events. And I guess one part is just Summer Game Fest was just pretty boring, and it's not Jeff's fault. It's just like those were the games that were available. Certainly a lot of games that look the same. I think it's really interesting the current trend we have of Sekiro likes. There are
110% agree that it's not Jeff's fault. Whatever games are available are available.
so many games that look like Sekiro, which makes a lot of sense. Sekiro came out 4 years ago. That is like the perfect timeline for game developers to have been like, "Ooh, let's make that," and it comes.
Also, Ghost of Tsushima, I gotta say, like, that was a big hit. I feel like at the time, 5 years ago, people were pretty hungry for like Japanese feudal Japan sort of samurai type games. So it's good to see we get some.
4 years later, everyone's just inspired by Sekiro. But I don't know if I've mentioned this in a YouTube video before. I've definitely spoken about it on podcasts. There is this division inside of Ubisoft. I don't know if other companies have it too. I'm sure they do. I'm sure like a Netflix has it, where it is people's jobs to predict what will be trending in however many years in order to start making products based on those trends. The fact that Ubisoft comes out with Assassin's Creed Shadows, the Assassin's Creed game set in Japan that I feel like everybody has been asking for that for forever, also happens to be the same year as all of these Sekiro likes.
If that's true, if Ubisoft really has a like a division trying to predict the trends, that's stupid, man. Like Ubisoft, I feel like has become this big game machine, and they really messed up. I think a lot of their big screw ups have been because they've been trying to predict trends. How about you give the power back to your developers? Just let them develop the games that they want to make, that they're passionate about. You know, bring us back that. I know we're getting a Splinter Cell, but bring us back a Splinter Cell. Give the fans what they want when they ask for it, right? So, you know, if they're asking for a Splinter Cell, we've been asking for a Splinter Cell since the last one. I think it was Blacklist, right? So since Blacklist, we've been asking you to go back to the old Splinter Cell. You should have had that. Like, it should have already released, you know, like trying to predict trends. That's just stupid, man.
It's just very flooded in that particular market, and I feel like only one can rise, like only one can succeed, especially when it's not a FromSoft game. It's just going to be a really interesting one to watch. And also, I felt like had a lot of games that just looked just really samey. Like, I don't know if it's because the event was so long, but I feel like there are a lot of trailers that are being made that just feel really generic these days. But yes, for the first controversy, if you didn't see it, it was leaked, revealed that an ad spot in Summer Game Fest, which to be clear, the whole thing is ads, in order to be a part of Summer Game Fest, you have to pay $500,000. This all came out from this article from Esquire that says, according to pricing details shared with me by multiple marketing professionals who requested anonymity, running a trailer during Summer Game Fest main show this year cost $250,000 for 1 minute, $350,000 for 1.5 minutes, $450,000 for 2 minutes, and $550,000 for 2.5 minutes. They also said that last year's edition of the Game Awards featured the same.
Yeah, it goes on to talk about you know, it's just not how game development works. There's marketing budgets. Everything she says here, I 110% agree with. I listened to this whole section and I was like, I don't disagree with anything she said here, but I would say, you know, like people don't really know how development works, right? So they don't understand there's that marketing budget separate, there's that gaming budget separate. But I mean, like, it's crazy to me that people don't understand how much marketing costs. Like, I did a video about the AAA, rising costs of AAA. You know, I put in for the marketing, I think it was 150 mil for a 250 mil game. That's about right. Maybe I was out by 25 mil. People were like ragging on it, saying like, oh, 150 mil for marketing. It's like, you're just making yourself look stupid because you don't know what this stuff costs. But anyway.
Same pricing tiers. There's been a lot of hubbub about whether this is worth it or not that I think is very easy to cut through personally. I keep seeing people say, well, if they didn't spend that much on marketing, they could spend that on the games and make the games better. That devastatingly is not the way the world works. One year that I worked at IGN, I remember being told, so this is very anecdotal, but I remember being told that just the booth, like the building of the booth on the E3 floor, was $350,000. That didn't include the booth space or the equipment. It was just the walls. I know publishers at E3 have spent over $50,000 on carpet alone. $550,000 for a marketing budget is not huge because you're paying to get your thing in front of.
That better be some gold filigree carpet, man. Like, it better not be that sticky shit you get at the club where every time you walk, you're like, but like, that better be like some nice, comfortable sliding, you know, gonna take your shoes off and make fists with your feet type carpet. I'm telling you, 50 grand.
Of an audience of people who are definitely very.
Like a booth is only like 5 meters by 5 meters, 10 meters max by 10 meters. Like,
very engaged and interested in everything you're showing. Like that's pretty standard, to be totally honest, for the games industry. It's not an unusual amount of money. Like, does that sound like a huge of money to me personally, who will never have $550,000? Yes. It does also mean, as said here, that the price levels translate to a 9.65 million haul for the main show alone. That's crazy. These numbers are not that unusual, and the suggestion that that money could be spent on game development instead is just not how game dev works. You have a marketing budget and you have a development budget, and they are separate things always. The marketing team, often for a lot of these companies, is basically a separate organization within the organization. They have a budget for the year. They allocate different budgets to different games. Those two bits of money don't go between. The entertainment industry, like film and TV, is much more candid about this. I always fucking wish the video games could be a little bit more candid, but everybody's cagey about everything. But usually the marketing budget is half of the production.
You guys agree with that as well, right? I mean, she said it there, by the way, half the production costs. I agree with that as well. I think sometimes developers could be a little bit more open with a lot more. Just give people an idea of what it is and what it takes, so we don't get so many dumb takes. Holy shit, that rhymed. Be a rapper.
Production cost. Again, this is super standard, not unusual, and that money doesn't get traded between the two things. I will say, though, one thing that they are at risk of here, the way that we ended up without an E3 is basically that all of these companies and publishers realized that they didn't need to anymore. And again, to me, it's a huge bummer. I really do miss, you had your PlayStation on Saturday and your Ubisoft that night, and there was an EA the next day, and Xbox was Sunday morning after the Nintendo Direct. God, it was so much fun. It was really
Yeah, it would be amazing. Although I will say that I've seen her say, she didn't, I'm fairly certain, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I've seen her say that she's doesn't want to go to this Summer Games Fest stuff because she doesn't go to it because she's over all that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever get over that. Meeting all the people, hanging out. It's a fun whirlwind, couple of days. Everything's sort of on, you get to meet everyone, hanging out, having dinners, having lunches, having breakfast, getting to meet people, talking to your favorite developers. Man, I don't think I could ever get tired of that. And I think if you are getting tired of that, time to get out, man. Make room for someone else who wants to do that, because I want to do it.
It was really fucking fun. And I was so bummed this year. It's I'm glad that Jeff stepped up and kept some of that alive. That is what Jeff has done here. But at the same time, having it be this expensive makes me just think it'll probably just go full circle, and these companies will go, that's a lot of money. We don't need to spend that much money. And it'll just keep kind of Ouroborosing itself. Obviously, when you break up and just do your own production, you still have to pay a production company. Most dev studios don't have full production companies. That's a huge cost you don't have to worry about when you're paying Keighley or when you're paying for Summer Game Fest. But it's also, if they just do it on their own, they're going to get way less viewers. Summer Game Fest got a lot of views. So that was controversy number 1. It is time to talk to you all about Magic Spoon. If you aren't familiar...
Oh, we ain't going through that shit. Although, shout out to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this video. All right. So this is the thing that I found odd. So I've listened to this again once already, but I didn't really I was just listening what? So I guess, it's not a live react, but it's close.
Video. Back to the video. Controversy number 2 is regarding the Xbox showcase, which top to bottom, I thought was...
what? That's the thing that got me into this video, was what controversy? The tagline, her title was, let's talk about the Xbox showcase. Showcase. Sorry. Let's talk about the Xbox showcase controversy, right? What? Controversy? There was none. Wait till you find out what she says too.
Was fantastic. I thought the Xbox showcase was really, really, really strong.
It sure was.
Because it had to be. It had to be. There are many a criticism being levied at Xbox. I mean, as always, but in this particular instance. And I certainly, while watching the showcase, said out loud at some point that it is difficult to watch all of these things that you like that make you happy. I mean, they played their greatest hits, basically, right? Especially for people like me. They gave us a Gears of War prequel, dude. Before the showcase started, I heard all the Gears rumors and I was like, I don't really need more Gears of War.
You know what? If someone said that to me, I'd be like, shut the hell up, right? No one cares what you think. Go and sit in the back, all right? We don't want to hear what you have to say. But she switches it up.
really loved Gears 1 through 3. I don't vibe with the others so much. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. I just like...
Agree. I also don't vibe with 4 and 5 very much. 1, 2, and 3 were 110% the best. But talk to me about Judgment. All right?
Haven't, like, they never grabbed me in the same way. So I was like, you know, don't care. And then it came up and it was E-Day. Dude. I was like, is it Marcus? It says his dog tags. It could be JD wearing his dog tags. Oh my God, the do-rag. It's Marcus. And then it was Dom. And oh my God. When I was...
That is exactly what my brain was doing.
A little twerp playing those games. I seriously considered getting Sync Jacinto tattooed on me for a while. E-Day, for anyone who's not familiar with Gears of War, is Emergence Day. It's the day the world all changed. And I have read so many books and read all of the comics, and I'm so in love with that era of Gears of War that man, it also looks a lot darker and grittier and a little scarier, because Gears did originally have scary moments, and I feel like the latter games haven't had that so much. So yeah, they really got me. I guess I do want another Gears of War, and I'm getting the one that I want. They even played the...
That's right, Alanah. That's why you should just never say you don't want that. Never say you don't want Gears. Like,
Mad World trailer? Oh my God. But it's like, yes, they definitely took that showcase and played their greatest hits. They gave us Fable, they gave us Perfect Dark. The Starfield DLC actually looks pretty cool. I think Stalker 2 is one of my most hyped games from this, and I think the #1 best trailer that we got was Doom. I felt that way when the Doom Eternal trailer came out. Doom makes for a good trailer. But yes, the criticism levied at Xbox is that they just played their greatest hits because everybody's mad at them for shutting down studios. And again...
How is that a controversy, number one? How is that a controversy? That's not controversial, man, like, at all. So to put, like, this is my problem with the Xbox showcase. It was too good. Like, that's not a controversy. They just gave you everything you wanted. Like, what? That is the weirdest take. I mean, I'm not saying that this is her take, right? But this is what she's heard. So where is she picking this up from? Like, I haven't heard this. I don't think I've even really heard this from the other side of the community. I haven't seen this anywhere. I don't roll in the mud as much as I used to, so I don't get all the stupid fanboy stuff that the PlayStation guys will put out. But how is it was too good, they gave you everything you want, a controversy? Oh, because they had to do that because they're so bad. Like, this is just the games that they had in the works, man. Like, are they not supposed to show what they're working on? Really weird take. I don't know anyone who would think that that's like some sort of controversy or a slight. So I find it weird that Alanah called it a controversy. But, like, you know, cool and stuff. Just, that's not controversy. That's just a good fucking showcase, people. Like, where are we? What are we doing? If this is what we're doing as gamers, if we're complaining about games or showcases being too good, it's fucking over, man. You need to get out of gaming. Go touch some grass. I don't know. Sniff a dog's butt. Do something like weird to just snap yourself out of it, because it's some fucking strange shit. I know sniffing a dog's butt is strange, but it's also very strange to complain about showcase being so good. A showcase. You gotta stop doing that Phil Spencer thing where I just say showcase instead of the or It's the showcase. A showcase, Phil. Please stop saying showcase. It's weird.
And what else were they supposed to do? Like, I don't really know what the alternative is, other than when you know you've had some kind of bad PR over the course of a year and you know people have been upset with you. You have shut down studios, which, by the way, I don't like that people are presenting that like it's an Xbox-specific problem. The industry has had industry-wide layoffs. Other companies have...
It's not an Xbox-specific problem. It's just people focus on it more when it is Xbox. We know this. This is what they call the Xbox tax, Alanah. It's like anything bad, even worse, Xbox. Anything good, it's not good because it's Xbox, right?
These have closed studios.
And this is what I'm fucking talking about with the undeniable, right? So, like, this showcase is undeniably good. You cannot say that it is bad, like, at all, right? So what's the narrative now? It was only good because they were bad. Like, weird. You're going to have that weird narrative. So we're going to get, like, when Phil says, like, there's no world in which we release Starfield and, like, people just start buying consoles. No, but you start putting out cadence of good games that are undeniable. Sure, there's going to be some weird narrative PlayStation guys out there making up some shit, like putting it on Twitter. Maybe in the media too, behind scenes, which is what I think's going on with Alanah here. I think this is a conversation that's happening, like behind the scenes. Like, why is she talking about this? Hasn't been a public issue. So, like, you know, where does this come from? So, but like, if you start putting out undeniable bangers, people will come. If you build it, Phil, they will come.
Studios. It definitely hurts more when it comes to Xbox specifically because of the caliber of the studios. Like, it really hurts me that Tango got shut down specifically because it's like, if Tango can get shut down, nothing is safe. No game anywhere is safe if that studio can get shut down. They were just so...
Look, I don't disagree, Alanah. Like, I really don't disagree. But like, you just came off the back of an excellent showcase and you're being negative. We're back to this studio shutting down thing. Like, if you don't want the studios to shut down, support them by like bringing the positive. Like, why are we, like, it happened. It's bad. I talked about it. I gave them the smoke. We just after the showcase, which is all positive, an absolute banger. This is what you're doing, man. Do you see the irony in this? Is you're originally talking at the start of the show is like the edgelords got worse and worse every year, bagging out E3, but you're doing not exactly the same thing, but you're bringing a negative topic around the showcase. You know what I mean? That can eventually hurt studios. They could end up back where we started here.
So good. And they were Microsoft's only Japanese studio. Like, I still don't understand how Tango got shut down. And so that gives me
But
dread for the whole industry, but not just dread for studios under Xbox. Like, it's not an Xbox specific problem. Everyone had layoffs and many a game has been canceled and things have been shut down. You know what I mean? And like, yes, Xbox has had since Redfall some tough PR. They've openly admitted to having some struggles.
Why are we talking about Redfall? Like, we've had a game released in between there, right? You know, I'm pretty sure a couple, but like, we had Hellblade. That was, I mean, if you want to go back to like controversy, why don't we go back to the Hellblade controversy? Like, are we just always going to harken back to Redfall as the example? Or, I mean, come on, man. Like, I'm not a fanboy and I'm not like into the toxic positivity. I don't do that. Like, give smoke where the smoke is due. But like, how would you feel if you fuck up at work, right? And then your boss kept bringing up that thing that you did like fucking a year before as an issue? Like, come on, man.
Struggles. What else were they supposed to do? It's just, I'm not really sure what people wanted, unless you wanted them to bring back the studios they shut down, but that isn't how it works. And that's not to say that anyone who was uncomfortable watching it because they were reminded of Tango, again, I said it out loud, that did happen to me. I went, man, it's really hard to watch this and just like not think about that. Like, people are saying they felt like they were being pandered.
Dude. I mean,
too, but I just don't know. Isn't all marketing kind of pandering? I don't know.
People felt like they were being pandered to, and all you could think about was studio closures. Like, it's this negative cycle that's around Xbox is part of the reason why you're going to get studio closures. Like, this is not helping. Like, it's not helping. Talk about the studios that released great trailers and talk about how much you love them. You could have the conversation that didn't help Tango, and I would agree with you. But it certainly can't fucking hurt, and this certainly won't help. I don't know, man. You're a big creator with a big voice, so I know, man. Try to use it for positive things. I mean, shout out to Alanah. I love her. She's great. But, you know, I think smoke where smoke's due, right?
Oh, it's a weird one. The second part, though, which
it is.
I can't believe we're still doing this, that I wanted to address, is the complaints that obviously come with that. That if Microsoft was doing a greatest hits and they were giving you a bunch of stuff that you wanted to see, somehow no Hollow Knight Silksong, though. Like, where's that little guy at? Where's that dude doing? Remember when you said it would be coming out in the next 12 months, 2 years ago? Who knows? There was just a lot of complaining about the lack of release dates.
Wait for the irony.
About where is the release date for this? Can we get a release date for this? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why do you care? I completely...
You just did it. You just did the thing you don't get, and you don't... Ah! I mean, look, I know she's kidding around, right? So I was having a minor aneurysm there. I think that might have been a stroke. If my face drops halfway through this, please call an ambulance. I'm in Australia, by the way, so not an American one. That's 000, not 911. Anyway, back to like what she's talking about, like with release dates, like you just asked for release dates, but cool. Like, let's talk about this because they've got so many games. They can't, it's one, like game development's difficult. She's going to talk about that. And you never know when you're going to be finished until you're ready, right? Which is cool. But you've also got so many games that you need to sort of drop. You've also got third-party partners that you need to drop without damaging the other games or trying not to, right? It's always a risk now with so many studios, so many games coming, you know, like they're not going to give a dead-on date. Like people complaining about that, you know, I get it. I would like some dates, but I think if you're giving me 2024 or you're giving me a 2025, hey, I'm happy with that. Like at the end of Gears, like they're probably at a point in development where they don't know if it's going to be, you know, 2027 or 2026 or 2028. Like, so if they're that early in development, why are you going to get, this is not fucking controversy, man. If this is all you have to nitpick about and complain about, what are we doing? Stop playing games. Like, it
Completely.
Also, the irony is not lost on me that I'm being negative about her negative video. I get it, right? I get it. But I've been more than positive. If you go back, watch my podcast, the Infinite podcast. We just went live, talked all about Showcase, did all the positivity. I found this weird as a controversy.
Completely understand people complaining about seeing trailers that don't have gameplay in them and asking to see more gameplay and asking to see things that are definitely in engine. That all makes sense to me. You want to actually understand the product and you don't want to just be shown fluffy trailers. But asking for release dates, especially now when we're in an era of Xbox going more digital than ever. We know they're focusing on Game Pass, they're focusing on a subscription service, they're focusing on cloud gaming, like we know that. It's less pressure than ever before on game devs to force a release date that they aren't ready for. This is a huge win for gamers. It's such a strange criticism because I feel like it's shooting yourself in the foot as a gamer. Like if you're demanding a release date for a game that the dev team is saying they aren't ready to have a release date yet for, you are asking for worse quality, kind of, or for a delay, which you'll also be upset about, right? Like,
yeah, that's 110%. I agree with that. And I said, I think we anyone who's got a half a brain, like watching the industry, not just Xbox, but watching the industry for the last 5 to 10 years, like how many delays have we seen? And, you know, due to COVID, unforeseen circumstances, these things happen, right? So because they happen, like I think it's a smart thing to just give a year. Hey, this is the year that we're dropping it in. It makes sense. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing that they're not giving release dates at all. I don't think it's a thing to worry about. I don't think it's something that bodes badly. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, you have one of the best showcases, I think, of any company ever, like in the history of gaming, and we're still finding something to bitch about. Like, it's crazy to me. I'm glad she's pointing that out. I disagree with the fact that she's saying, like, there's a controversy. Let's listen a little bit more. See what she's got to say. What you got to say?
Like, if the industry has learned anything from Cyberpunk, which is a game that clearly came out too early, and if there's anything that the industry could have learned from that, it's that at least executives at any game dev studio, at higher-ups at any studio, could go to their publisher and be like, see what happened to Cyberpunk? See these review bumps? See these refunds? See it coming off the PlayStation Store? Don't make us release a game before we're ready. And so audiences having this pressure to tell game dev studios that they need to release.
Agreed, 110%. Everything that she just said, and I'm talking to one specific person now, and you know who you are. You gave the showcase an 8 because of, yeah. We could talk.
Release games at a certain
fucking 9, at least 9. You gave it an 8.
Time is like counter to that in a way that doesn't make any sense to me. I guess I can understand the perspective of like, if you're subscribed to Game Pass and you want to have an idea of the catalog going forward, maybe. But I would say if you're not subscribed for things that are on there currently and it's the prospect of future things, I would just like cancel it month to month. Like if there's nothing that you want for a month, just cancel it that month. Basically my point, don't pressure anybody for release dates. It's the strangest thing that makes people have to push out games early. It makes the stock market get it all up in its head about when it needs a return because the release date has been public, and then it's very, very, very hard to delay. The company loses a bunch of money on the stock market, and It's a whole shebang. Like, it's just, you get better games if you get them when the dev team's ready. That's case in point. I do not need release dates. I'm okay with waiting. There are so many video games out and available and playable all the time that I do not think I immediately need more of them. And there are a lot of games coming out in the next 12 months anyway, but just a weird take. So yeah.
Exactly. That whole thing is a weird take. You know, that there's controversy because the show was too good. Weird. Look, she goes on to talk about some positives, some of her positives that she picks out. This video is already going to be, you know, around about 30 minutes or so, so I didn't want to push it out too long. I just found it really odd, guys, like creators out there, stop, edgelords out there, or even Alanah, like, I don't know, she's not trying to be an edgelord and be overly negative. I think she's trying to respond to the negative, but where does this negative come from? I didn't see this on Twitter. So is this in the media? Because we know she's got a lot of friends in the media. Like, it makes me further concerned. Like, you have a banger showcase and this is the conversation that we're having. Like, we shouldn't be having this conversation. If this was, I mean, after Sony's God of War, was there like, oh, you just gave us God of War because you had a shit PS3? Like, that's what it is. Oh, like, that's a dumbass take. It's unbelievable. It blew my mind. I'm like, and you're making a video about it. Like, make a video. Like, the back end of it, I think her video is 17 minutes. She spent 13 minutes and 30 seconds talking about negatives around the showcase when she could have spent that 13 minutes talking about like how good the games were that she saw that she liked. Cool. And then moved on to the back end, you know, spent that 5 minutes talking about the negatives and how weird it is that people think it's a bad thing that Xbox gave us a great showcase with great games and they only did it because they're shit. That's just weird. That is a weird way to think. If you're thinking like that, you may be suffering from psychopathy or some other sort of mental issue. You know, I urge you to get help. Do it for your mother. I hope you have a mother, and I apologize if you don't. Anyway, guys, look, that's pretty much the video. I'm not going to edit this one. This is just me riffing off what Alanah's saying. And again, once again, I'm just going to say no shade to Alanah. Alanah, if you ever see this, which I highly doubt, look, don't take it personally. I'm just sort of making a point that it was weird, or, I mean, whatever. Guys, if you liked it, please hit the like button, share it out, subscribe if you're new here. We go live with the podcast every Friday, 8 p.m. EST. You can check us out there. If you're in Australia, that is 11 a.m. in the East Coast. On the West Coast, Best Coast, that's 8 a.m. my time, right? Best Coast, West Coast, right? You do that, like, yeah. Can't even twist my fingers. I'm getting old. Anyway, shout out. See you in the next one.